Hello everyone, Amanda here with Big Bang Radio and Studio 67, and today I am talking with Gregg Stewart. Hey Greg.
How are you?
So let's get right into some questions, okay?
Sure.
Let's start with, how would you describe your style of music?
Well, I think it's kind of just like a bit of an amalgam of a lot of different things. You know, I love late '70s, classic rock and roll, and there's a little bit of that edge to what I do. A kind of, I'm a huge Thin Lizzy fan and Cheap Trick, but then there's elements obviously of kind of very classic Americana as well. Huge Tom Petty, Bruce Springsteen fan. I love their songwriting sense. And then there's part of me that's pretty heavily influenced by, classic British writers, your Elvis Costello, and Nick Lowe, Graham Parker. So all that kind of comes together, I think, to hopefully make something something good.
I got you, okay. So laundromats play a special significance. They have a special role in your musical
All
journey.
right.
Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, I grew up in New Jersey in a trailer park. I was one of the few kids who had a guitar. It was gifted to me by a friend of the family when I expressed an interest in learning how to play. And slowly but surely, when you're kind of a lone musician in your town, you end up getting hooked up with other kids. And after a while, there was about six of us who all were kind of learning how to play, various ages. I was about 14, and there was a few older guys, and they're 19, 20. No parent was about to allow six guys to come and practice together or teach each other songs in any one trailer. So there was this laundromat in the neighborhood, and the superintendent there he left, and he was good friends with one of the kids, and so we'd come in, especially in wintertime, and you drop a quarter into the dryer to keep the place warm, and you'd unplug a couple washing machines to plug in your practice amps, and we would just sit on the ends of washing machines and teach each other songs. And that's kind of where that was my first mentoring of anything that would resemble formal lessons happened in the laundromat, all of us jamming together. And I definitely look upon those times with those guys very fondly. They taught me a lot about song sense and certainly a lot about just simply how to play. Yeah, so
I think
laundromat's
that's
definitely.
awesome. That's an awesome story. Are you guys still in touch?
I was still a teenager. It was only a couple years later that I moved out to California, and so yeah, there's one guy from that era who I still stay in touch with, who lives out this way now.
Very cool.
But yeah, the other guys, we all just kind of grow up and move on, I guess. So, but yeah, at least half of those guys ended up in bands at some point, though. Just really, really, really took it as far as they could.
So the time in the laundromat paid off.
Uh, we should hope, yeah.
Yeah. So the next question is a little different. If your music was a smell,
Uh-huh.
what would it smell like?
That's a thing, right? I think it's called synesthesia, where people can actually see colors when they hear music, and then there's a really small percentage of people who actually smell music. I'd love to. I don't have that, but I'd love to meet somebody who does. That'd be cool. I'd love to know what my music smells like. Maybe I don't. I don't know.
If you had to pick a smell that it could smell
Sure,
like.
sure. To answer your question, I would say, what I'd like to hope it smells like is, have you ever been to the state fair in a carnival, kind of, when it's starting to wind down and the kids are all gone, or either dove in their parents' arms, and it's there's that kind of summer air,
Right.
and the smell of kind of burnt cotton candy and like funnel cake and strawberries and maybe the grease from the Ferris wheel. Yeah, that's what I hope it smells like.
Okay. All right. So the smell of a good time.
Yeah, I guess so.
um, so you mentioned about living in New Jersey and you later moved to California. Do you think that living on both coasts influences your music?
Oh yeah, definitely. Like I said, I was just kind of playing guitar with other guitarists when I lived in New Jersey, and there was a lot of that East Coast kind of song sense in the bands we listened to. I don't think I appreciated Bruce Springsteen as much until I moved away, and then you realize he's kind of grown up in New Jersey. He's part of almost every childhood memory I have. Walking on the boardwalk at Seaside Heights, there's Bruce playing. So there's that kind of East Coast kind of working class kind of songwriter thing. And then in California, the very first band I joined, I was was a punk band, and they taught me all about, bands like Black Flag and the Germs and Social Distortion. There's all these West Coast, Orange County, Los Angeles punk bands, and that gave me a whole other vantage point on music that I love. And so yeah, both of those coasts definitely influenced me, and definitely from the songwriting side, there's still the Laurel Canyon sound. Guys like Neil Young who are here writing, and Crosby, Stills and Nash and the Doors, and there's so much classic music happening in Los Angeles. It's such a mecca for classic music. So yeah, definitely both coasts have definitely influenced me. Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. Now you have your own independent record label, which released its first record by Stewboss, a band that you're a member of. Can you tell me a little bit about both of that? Like, how did it come about that you wanted your own label, and Stewboss? How did they come about?
Yeah, that's great. So, I was on when I was 22, 23. I was on a major label. I was signed with a different band on Elektra. And that band made a couple albums that never got released. Like, we made a record and it got shelved, and then we made another record and it got shelved. And that happens more often than you realize on a major label. But I met a few guys, and all of us had been on major labels, and we kind of came to this realization that, a lot of what the music industry is about is, it's a lot of risk and a lot of bets. And a lot of times, especially with a major label, they're really just betting on your potential, not necessarily where you are in the moment. And I wanted to be in a band that just had the opportunity to crawl before it was asked to walk, and walk before it was asked to run. And so Stewboss kind of came out of that. Like, let's just go make some good music, be the best bar band we can be, and have a good time together, and not try to live up to anyone else's potential of what we might become. And so Stewboss was always kind of just that coming together of just making music for the sheer love of making music and having a good time with people on a Saturday night, whether it was 3 people or 300. And then the means to release it. I learned a lot while I was on a major label, and so I was like, I can start my own label. I've seen the ins and outs of all this, and so yeah, we started our own label. We promoted stuff ourselves. We started getting airplay in Europe before we ever got any notice in the U.S. And Stewboss has done 7 or 8 tours of Europe at this point, and I'm grateful for all that experience and all the traveling we were able to do with that band. Yeah.
Very cool. Sounds like a very cool experience. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
And now you have released a solo album.
Yeah, there it is.
So can you tell me what inspired you to do that? And do you have a favorite track on the album?
Oh, wow. So, well, the solo album really just came out of, I had been spending a bit of time. I was writing and co-writing with a number of other artists in town, and kind of mostly staying put for a bit. But there was a few songs I had written that they weren't really right for anybody else, and it felt kind of right for my voice. And so I wanted to just do an acoustic kind of, just archive them, just do an acoustic demo and just have them. And so I came to Kevin Jarvis, who's an amazing drummer, owns this great studio out in Venice, California called Sonic Boom Room. And I played him a couple songs. And he said, we should really produce these. We should see where it goes. And he was really the catalyst for it. And after a while, I just looked around and suddenly there was a record. There was a whole record. And it was like, well, I should put it out. I should share it. Kevin is an amazing drummer. He's played with everyone from, Brian Wilson of the Beach Boys, and Leonard Cohen, and Cinda Williams, and he brought in Bob Glaub to play bass, who's any bass player probably knows Bob's name. He played with Jackson Browne and Bonnie Raitt, and so it's a pretty classic rhythm section I had, and we just had a really great time, and made the record. As far as a favorite track, it's really hard to say. You get kind of attached to them like little kids, so you have kids. Some grow up to be presidents, some grow up to be janitors, but you like to think you love them all the same. So I don't know if I can pick a favorite.
Okay, that is fine.
Wait though, do you have a favorite?
Do I have a favorite? I actually like the play on words for "Let's Go Find a Night." I thought that was interesting, an interesting way to phrase it. Yeah.
Hi, this is Gregg Stewart, and this is "Let's Go Find a Night."
Inside find a night perfect for lovers. Let's go find a night far from these streets. Let's go find a night unlike the others. Let's go find a night where lovers like us can live, love, live and love and live and be free. Live and be free. There's a dream I hold in my heart, and it's never, 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 never to be apart. We got to run while we still can. Find a place where the moon and the stars understand, understand, understand. Let's go find a night perfect for lovers. Let's go find a night far from these streets. Let's go find a night unlike the others. Let's go find a night where lovers like us can live, love, live and love and live and be free. Live and be free. Now there's no room for us in this town, and there's no time to be found. Let's go find a night perfect for lovers. Let's go find a night far from these streets. Let's go find a night unlike the others. Let's go find a night where lovers like us can live, love, live and love and live and be free. Let's go find a night. 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 Night, night, night. Let's go find a night. Let's go find a night.
When you're writing lyrics, do you have any certain rituals or requirements that help you to write?
Right. Well, it's interesting you should mention Let's Go Find a Night. That's the only song that I didn't write the lyrics for. There's a guy I know out here named Steve Sun who's been, he's a great lyricist. And the moment, he and I have written a bunch of songs together, but that song in particular I felt like one I wanted to keep, for me, because it just had the right kind of vibe. It fit with the rest of the record. And but yeah, he's a great lyricist and super fun to work with. I think as far as writing, I think I don't necessarily have a ritual. I think you just kind of I have to be patient, I mean, I have a friend once who said that, the idea is some people kind of write, it's like hunting, they just pick up a gun, they go in the woods, and they go get the song, And I tend to kind of just walk into the woods and just sit on a tree stump and just kind of wait for the song to come to me, So I don't like to rush the process. But my process is definitely about finishing. The one thing I learned early on is I knew a lot of people, and myself included, who had like 100 half-finished songs. And so I realized the real difference is just the ability to just finish it, to make yourself finish the song, just commit. Just like, okay, it's done, this is it. And I think that's the only thing that's really helped me as a writer, the idea of really simply committing to just finish the song. Don't leave it half done. Whatever you start, even if you don't like where it's going, just finish it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I've talked to a few artists that will start a song and they do not like where it's going. They don't understand why this song just makes no sense to them. And by the time they finish it, it's their favorite. They love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You gotta hang with it sometimes. It's a really great point, and I think too, and sometimes you're just gonna write a bad song. It's okay. I think I've heard other writers say, like, the pendulum will only swing far enough one way as you're willing to let it go the other. So your willingness to write a really bad song, it creates some momentum to write a really great song. If you're always being safe, you're only like writing mediocre songs the whole way. So write a really bad song. Write a bad song on purpose.
Very true. Very true.
So, yeah.
Speaking of bad, good, bad, or embarrassing, what has been your most memorable moment so far?
Oh, wow. Well, speaking of embarrassing, I was just sharing the story with someone the other day that, the very first time I kind of ventured out to Hollywood and with my band and played the Whiskey A Go-Go, classic venue. It was a packed house, and we were so grateful for the turnout, and mostly due to the other bands that were playing, not us, because we were the out-of-towners. But we played it, and we opened up the set with just an acoustic song. We were the openers, and we just acoustic song. And everyone in the room kind of sat down. It was like a little sit-in. It was like really cool. They were really quiet, and then we switched to electric, and I picked up my electric guitar, and the strap came loose, and immediately the whole guitar just crashed straight down to the bottom of the stage with a clang. In a very quiet room, everyone's sitting on the floor of the Whiskey, And I just looked up at the sea of people, and then you could hear this audible, like, in the room, like, ooh, and I picked up the guitar, and clearly there was a big chip out of the bottom of it, and I just shrugged my shoulders and turned very red, plugged it back in, and then commenced to play the rest of the set. So that was not my best moment.
It's okay. You started with a bang. It's all right.
Yeah, I started with a bang. So hopefully we recovered. And then I think as far as like happiest or best moment, one of our first tours with Stewboss when we toured England, they're a very proper crowd. They're very quiet. They really want to listen and hear the songs. It kind of gets unnerving, though. You're used to playing here in the States. You're playing bars. There's always somebody gabbing in the back or clanking of beer bottles. In England, they are silent. They want to hear the songs. And the further north you go, though, as you head towards Scotland, the louder and a little rowdier they get. And by the time we got up to a little town called Comrie, we played this place called the White Church, and it was basically an old decommissioned church. The acoustics were beautiful, and the fact that we were this band from California coming to this small town up in the north end of Scotland, like, we attracted pretty much not just fans of music, but just every looky-loo that wanted to know what a band from California was doing there in their town. So it was a great crowd of people, multi-generational. There were grandparents and children, and all there to hear this. And there was a smattering of people who had heard the music before. They'd heard us on the radio, on the BBC, where we were getting some airplay. And so that group really was a catalyst to suddenly they were singing along. They weren't like, so it was, we had gone through like a week of just very proper, quiet shows. And then suddenly they're belting out the lyrics back at us. And it was like, it's probably the greatest feeling you could feel as an artist and a performer. Suddenly to hear all your lyrics being sung back at you from the stage. So that may be one of my highlights for me, yeah. Little tiny town.
Yeah, that would be really cool, actually. I can imagine that would be kind of unnerving to play to a silent crowd. You can't read them. Yeah. It's like, do they like it? Do they not like it? I don't know.
Yeah, like a pack of hungry wolves. You don't know. But we love British crowds, though. I mean, they are amazing, and they're really supportive. It's so interesting. The moment you walk off the stage, suddenly they're screaming their heads off. They want an encore, and you go like, oh, they did enjoy it. Wow, that's crazy.
They're saving it. They save it.
They save it up. They save it up. Hi, this is Gregg Stewart, and this is Nobody Like You.
Tears, and I don't care who hears. like you. Cast away all our wilder days as every memory fades from view. You were every scheme, well now every dream. And honey, who am I without you? You know it's true, there'll never be another like you. Never be another like you. Never be another like you. Oh, nobody like you. What to say? You can go your way, and I can't stop this train from passing through. My chest feels tight, 'cause my heart still fights what it knows is right to tear into. Cast away what our wilder days as every memory fades from view. You were every scheme, well now every dream. And honey, who am I without you? You know it's true, there'll never be another like you. Never be another like you. Never be another like you. Oh, nobody like you. Never be another like you. Never be another like you. Oh, nobody like you. Like you. Like you. Like you. Never be another like you.
So, are you currently working on any projects, any new music?
Oh yeah. There's actually there's 3 projects I can tell you about. First is I've already finished up a second record. I know I just released this solo record about a month ago, but while we were recording the album, in most of 2016, it seemed like every time we got in the studio to do something, there was another landmark artist that we had lost and had passed on. And we lost a lot of amazing artists in 2016. Mm-hmm. And so I, at the beginning of this year, once the solo record was kind of under wraps, I went back in the studio and we did, with just some friends, and we did a record of covers only from songs from artists that we lost in 2016. Ended up with about 14 tracks. There's a Prince song, there's a Bowie song, there's a Glenn Frey song, Leon Russell, Leonard Cohen. Anyway, it's a long list. But we had a really great time, and it was very therapeutic, I think, for all of us, and to do it and to really, I hesitate to call it a tribute record. I think more than that, I wanted to just celebrate the work. They just left behind, all these artists left behind just a stunning catalog of work to be reinterpreted, to be reinvented, to be celebrated. And so I wanted to play those songs. I wanted to put them out there and give maybe a different vantage point on them. And to try to get all those songs to live together is difficult. How to fit a Prince song with a Merle Haggard song. So our secret formula became just really just stripping them down to their bare elements, just a piano vocal or just a guitar vocal, and really showcase the song and the simplicity and the beauty of the writing and the lyric. And yeah, I think the record ends up having a kind of cohesiveness I'm happy with. So yeah, we'll be putting it out in the next couple months. So I'll be sure to send a copy your way.
Yeah, please do. That's really awesome that you guys did that.
Yeah, and then two other quick projects is one is I just a couple months ago I did the score for a short film with Kevin Jarvis as well. He and I did it for a little movie called Beautiful Dead Things, and it's starting to get a bunch of traction, and it's exciting at festivals and things. So it just won the Platinum Award at Houston World Fest, and it's going to be at the Cannes Film Festival, Diversity in Cannes. So that's exciting stuff. Just to score a film and is fun, and yeah, two female directors, Renee Faya and Angela Ogard, and they're an amazing team, and we're just honored to be a part of it. So that's a project to keep an eye out for, a little short film, Beautiful Dead Things. And then third project, there's a band that I admire greatly called Dead Rock West. Cindy Wasserman is one of the vocalists in that band, and she sang all the backing vocals. She's all the harmony vocals on my solo record.
Okay.
So they've got a record coming out in August that was produced by John Doe from the band X, which is just a seminal band from West Coast punk scene. And I've got 3 co-writes on the record, and I'm just thrilled to just be a part of it. And I think the whole record has just a number of beautiful songs, and I'm just honored to have some co-writes on it. So that's definitely a record to keep an eye out. The Dead Rock West record is called More Love.
Oh, very cool. It sounds like you've been busy.
Yeah. The goal is to be busy, do what you love, and stay busy.
That's right. Do what you love. You never work a day in your life, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So what is the best way for fans to keep up with the happenings of Gregg Stewart?
Oh, yeah. So, I think if you want to I have a website, greggstewartmusic.com. We've got a little sign up page there that, in every, not like we don't pester people all that much. It's if we've got tour dates or there's a new release coming out, we'll send out an email to everybody. We don't want to bug them with too much, but yeah, if there's something of note, so if you sign up there, and there's a contact page, pretty easy to sign up. Leave us your email address. We'll make sure you know about tour dates and any new releases. And other than that, if you're more than welcome to come follow me on Instagram. I like Insta Friends, so it's fun. Just I usually follow everybody back because I just want to see what everyone's up to. I'm nosy that way. So yeah, I'm at that Gregg Stewart, ThatGregg Stewart, Stewart. That Gregg Stewart. Come find me on Instagram, and we'll see what I've been up to, and I'll see what you've been up to.
Very nice.
Hi, this is Gregg Stewart, and this is the first song on my new solo album, R is for Rockstar.
Hey kid, come here, you look confused. Oh, don't worry, 'cause I'm gonna teach you a little something you really can use. Your mama wants you to be an MD, your daddy tells you a cop. You wanna know what I think you should do, kid? Pick up that guitar and rock. Yeah, pick up that guitar. it's a 10-hour drive to Des Moines. Forget your